The ancient world was burning. For centuries, the terrifying power of Neo-Assyrian Empire had dominated the Middle East through fear, conquest, and endless war. Its armies marched from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea, crushing kingdoms beneath iron discipline and ruthless kings. But no empire lasts forever. In 612 BC, the impossible happened. The legendary city of Nineveh, jewel of Assyria, fell beneath the combined fury of the Babylonians, Medes, and Scythian raiders. Towering palaces collapsed into fire. Temples were looted. The empire that once terrified the world vanished into smoke and ash. From Assyria's corpse, new powers rose. To the south emerged Neo-Babylonian Empire under the ambitious king Nabopolassar. To the north and east rose the vast Median Empire under King Cyrus, whose armies stretched across mountains, deserts, and ancient trade routes. For a time, the victors divided the ancient Near East between them. Yet peace in the ancient world was always fragile. In western Anatolia stood another great kingdom, Lydia. Ruled by the wealthy and powerful King Croesus, Lydia controlled rich trade routes, fertile lands, and some of the finest cavalry in existence. Greek merchants spoke in awe of Lydia's gold, and even centuries later, people would still say, "Rich as Croesus." But beyond wealth and luxury, danger was quietly growing. Because in the east, destiny was awakening. Cyaxares eventually died, and the Median throne passed to his son, Astyages, a ruler remembered less for wisdom and more for paranoia. Ancient sources describe him as suspicious, harsh, and increasingly feared by his own nobles. He relied heavily on dreams, omens, and prophecies whispered by priests, and one prophecy terrified him more than all others. According to legend, Astyages dreamed that his grandson would one day overthrow him and seize his empire. To prevent this nightmare from becoming reality, the king ordered the infant killed. But fate had other plans. Like many legendary rulers of antiquity, the child survived in secret. That boy's name was Cyrus the Great. Raised far from royal luxury among the Persians near the Persian Gulf, Cyrus grew into a charismatic and fearless leader. He was intelligent, ambitious, and possessed a rare gift that would later make him legendary, the ability to turn enemies into loyal followers. By 553 BC, rebellion exploded. Encouraged by dissatisfied Median nobles and military commanders, Cyrus rose against his grandfather Astyages. Civil war consumed the Median Empire for years, as armies clashed across the rugged Iranian plateau. At last, Cyrus triumphed. The old Median king was defeated. The Persian prince seized the Median capital of Ecbatana and inherited one of the largest empires in the world. But this was only the beginning. Unlike many conquerors, Cyrus understood that fear alone could not build a lasting empire. Instead of slaughtering defeated nobles, he welcomed many into his court and army. Former enemies became trusted advisors. Conquered peoples often found themselves treated with surprising respect. One by one, the lands of the east accepted Persian rule. And as Cyrus's power grew, neighboring kings began to panic. None were more alarmed than Croesus of Lydia. Under Astyages, Lydia and Media had enjoyed peace, but Cyrus was different. He was young, unpredictable, and dangerously ambitious. Croesus feared that if Persia continued expanding westward, Lydia would eventually stand alone. So he began building alliances. Envoys traveled to ancient Egypt, Babylon, and even the Greek world seeking support against Persia. Powerful rulers agreed that Cyrus represented a growing threat. War became inevitable. In 547 BC, Croesus crossed the Halys River with a massive army, invading lands under Persian control. Cyrus reacted immediately. Gathering Persians, Medes, and allied warriors from across his growing empire, he marched west to confront Lydia. The two armies first clashed near Pteria in central Anatolia. The battle was brutal and indecisive. Neither side gained a clear advantage. With winter approaching and supplies running low, Croesus made a decision that would change history forever. Believing the campaign season was over, he withdrew to his capital at Sardis to wait for reinforcements from his allies. Many of his Greek mercenaries were dismissed for the winter. It seemed reasonable. After all, ancient armies rarely campaigned during harsh winter months. But Cyrus was not a typical king. While his advisors recommended resting until spring, Cyrus saw opportunity. He learned that Croesus had dispersed part of his forces. He learned that allied reinforcements were still far away. And most importantly, he understood that hesitation could cost him everything. So instead of retreating, Cyrus did the unthinkable. He launched a winter invasion across Anatolia. Across freezing plains and rugged hills, the Persian army marched relentlessly toward Sardis. Scouts warned Croesus that Cyrus was approaching, but the Lydian king reportedly refused to believe them. Surely no army would march through winter. Surely no king would risk such madness. But Cyrus did, and before long, Persian banners appeared outside Sardis itself. Croesus was stunned. Rushing to assemble his army, the Lydian king marched out to meet Cyrus on the plains, near a place remembered as Thymbra. The fate of empires would be decided there. The armies that gathered were among the greatest of their age. Croesus commanded a powerful force supported by elite cavalry, the pride of Lydia. Their horsemen were famous across the ancient world for their speed, discipline, and devastating charges. Cyrus's army was smaller but battle-hardened. Persian infantry formed disciplined ranks armed with spears and bows, while cavalry guarded the flanks. Yet Cyrus possessed something even more valuable than numbers: adaptability. As dawn broke over the plains of Thymbra, Croesus launched the battle exactly as expected. Lydian cavalry thundered forward on both flanks. The earth shook beneath pounding hooves. Spears lowered. Dust rose into the air as armored horsemen smashed toward the Persian lines. At first, the attack worked. Persian infantry suffered heavily beneath the cavalry assault. Horses crashed into shield walls while arrows darkened the sky overhead. But Cyrus had prepared for this moment. During earlier encounters, he had noticed something unusual. Lydian horses were terrified of camels. So now, in one of the most brilliant tactical moves of the ancient world, Cyrus ordered camels from his supply trains brought forward to the battlefield. Persian riders mounted the camels and charged. The effect was immediate. The unfamiliar scent and appearance of the camels sent the Lydian horses into panic. Animals reared wildly. Riders lost control. Entire cavalry formations collapsed into chaos before even reaching the Persian lines. Some Lydian soldiers desperately dismounted to continue fighting on foot, but confusion spread rapidly across the battlefield. Cyrus seized the moment. Persian cavalry surged forward. Archers unleashed devastating volleys into the exposed Lydian infantry. Then came the final blow. With the enemy cavalry broken, Cyrus ordered a massive assault against the Lydian center. Persian infantry advanced relentlessly. Spears clashed, shields shattered, the battlefield dissolved into savage hand-to-hand combat. Despite fierce resistance, the Lydian army began to collapse. Soldiers fled back toward Sardis as Persian forces pursued them across the plain. The Battle of Thymbra was over, but the conquest of Lydia had only begun. Croesus retreated behind the mighty walls of Sardis, believing the city could survive a long siege. Yet once again, Cyrus proved unstoppable. After only 2 weeks, Persian soldiers discovered a weak point in the city's defenses. Elite troops scaled the walls and opened the way for the rest of the army. Sardis fell. Croesus was captured, and with the fall of Lydia, one of the wealthiest kingdoms in the ancient world became part of the growing Persian Empire. The consequences were enormous. By conquering Lydia, Cyrus gained control over Anatolia's immense wealth, strategic trade routes, and Greek cities along the coast. Babylon now stood isolated. Egypt grew increasingly nervous. And across the ancient world, rulers began realizing a terrifying truth. A new superpower had arrived. In the years ahead, Cyrus the Great would continue conquering vast territories, eventually building the mighty Achaemenid Empire, one of the greatest empires in human history. But it was at Thymbra, on those dusty plains outside Sardis, that the legend truly began. The battle was more than a military victory. It marked the birth of an empire destined to reshape the ancient world forever. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have sure ideas, we'd love to hear from you.